Okay, hello and welcome. Today doing a video about part 61197, 14 CFR part 61197. And I'm doing this because I have experienced some confusion, people asking some questions about this rule, and clearly they are misunderstanding. Part of the issue is the FAR AIM 2025. If you're using a FAR AIM 2025, the hard copy, printed version, well, this rule isn't in it. They changed it in December, and didn't make it into the 2025 copy. So go to the online version, look up the current rule. Some instructors also think that as long as they meet the recent experience requirements, then that's all they need. Document it themselves, and that's good for the next 24 calendar months. Not so. 8710-1 still needed, still submitted for record and for the FAA to substantiate that. Expiration dates are causing some confusion also for those who currently have an expiration date on their CFI certificate. If you do, that expiration date still stands. You still have to have renewed and met recent experience by the expiration date. Don't go beyond it. There's a section in 61199 where it talks about a 3-month period after your end of the 24-month period. That does not apply if you have an expiration date on your certificate. So watch out for that one, because I think people are going to go past that date thinking that they have 3 months on the backside. They don't, going to have to take a check ride. You can't just do the flight instructor refresher course to do that, so be careful there. Let's talk about why. 61197. Recent experience requirements. The language has changed. This used to be renewal requirements for a flight instructor certificate. So language has changed, and that counts for this rule and 61199, and why an expired certificate doesn't get the 3 months afterwards. I'll explain that in a minute, so hang in there. A person may exercise, 61197A, a person may exercise the privileges of the person's flight instructor certificate only if, within the preceding 24 calendar months, that person has satisfied one of the recent experience requirements specified in paragraph B of this section, which is right here. We'll talk about that in a moment. The 24 calendar month period during which the flight instructor must establish recent experience shall start from one of the following: the month the FAA issued the flight instructor certificate. So issued January the 1st, 2025, you've got 24 months. End of the month, 24 months, 24 calendar months later. That's the issue date on your certificate. You can start that 24-month period if for some reason within that 24-month period you change that month. You can show recency of experience anywhere within that 24-month period. So if you choose to renew that or show recent experience, for example, issued January the 1st, 2025, and then you decide, I'm going to show recent experience in February of 2026. Well, now that's your new start date. That's your new start date of your 24-month period. Okay? Next one, number 3, the last month of the flight instructor's current recent experience period. Okay? So that would be, for example, January the 1st. The last month will be the end of January, with January 2027 if I got it in 2025. That's my last month. Provided the recent experience requirements of this section are accomplished within the 3 calendar months preceding the last month of the certificate holder's current recent experience period. So 3 months prior, December, November, October, anywhere within there, I can reset, I can show recent experience, and I keep my January end date. Okay, so those are the defining of this 24 calendar month period. Now, how do we show recent experience? Well, that's paragraph B, so let's go to paragraph B. A person who holds a flight instructor certificate may establish recent experience by satisfying one of the following requirements. Take a check ride. CFI check ride. Additional rating or just a CFI check ride. Shows recent experience. Done. Next, number 2, satisfactorily completing one of the following. It gives you some options here. One of the following. 24 months, 5 applicants, 80% pass rate. If you've endorsed them and got an 80% pass rate for a practical test, then you can submit documentation that the FAA finds acceptable. And I will give a link of note here. I will leave a link in the comments and the description for 8900.1, where it talks about all of this, and it gives a lot of detail about what you need to submit, the paperwork that they need, what is required, what is acceptable documentation to show this, to show proof that you have accomplished this. Number 2, within the preceding 24 months, the flight instructor has served as a company check pilot, chief flight instructor, company check airman, or flight instructor in a Part 121 or 135 operation. So if that's where you are doing your work, then you can show recent experience by providing the appropriate documentation. Or in a position involving the regular evaluation of pilots. Again, all of this defined in 8900.1. Go to the link and it will, and I've highlighted those parts of the rule, and so that should help you dig through it and get to the bottom of this. What do you have to do? What is a position involving the regular evaluation of pilots? What is acceptable? Well, it's defined. The FAA have defined it in 8900.1, so you can look it up there. Within the preceding 3 calendar months, that person has successfully completed an approved flight instructor refresher course. So the FERC that people have been doing for many, many years. As long as you do that within the 3 calendar months preceding, then you can show recency of experience. Mil comp. If you are in the armed forces and you are an evaluator and you take an instructor pilot or pilot examiner proficiency check, and you do that regularly, well, you can use that. You can mil comp that to reinstate and to renew. So a good option there for those in the armed forces performing that function anyway, okay? And then you've also got this WINGS program. The flight instructor has served as a flight instructor in an FAA-sponsored pilot proficiency program, provided the flight instructor meets the following requirements. Again, you've got to meet these requirements. 8900.1 again describes that in great detail. So that is all there for your perusal. Dig through that, see what you think. Here we see if you fail to do this, Part C, except as provided in paragraph F of this section, a person who fails to establish recent experience in accordance with paragraph B during the 24 calendar month period, you may not exercise the flight instructor privileges until you reinstate in accordance with 199. And we'll talk about that in a moment. And let's see, talking about the expired flight instructor certificate, a person who holds an unexpired flight instructor certificate issued before December 1st, 2024. There are still quite a few of those out there. A lot of certificates out there that have an expiration date on them before the rule changed. You must, I will say it again, you must complete this recency experience before that month expires. And if you don't, you do have to take a check ride. So please pay attention to that date. It's the same for you. Expiration date on your certificate, really nothing's changed for you. Got to get it done before that date. Now, once that one is submitted, then after that, you will have a flight instructor certificate without an expiration date on it, and then you fall under the recency of experience rule. Okay, let's talk about 199, and we'll see why that 3-month period on the backside is causing some confusion. Flight instructor privileges. The holder of a flight instructor certificate who has not complied with the flight instructor recent experience requirements of 197 may reinstate their flight instructor privileges by filing a completed and signed application with the FAA and satisfactorily completing one of the following reinstatement requirements. If 3 calendar months or less have passed since the last month of the flight instructor's recent experience period, the flight instructor may successfully complete an approved flight instructor refresher course, or satisfy one of the requirements specified in paragraph A2 of this section. This applies only if you're operating under a recent experience period. If you have an expiration date on your CFI certificate, you're not operating under a recent experience period. You are still operating on a certificate that has an expiration date. This does not apply to you until you get your new certificate without an expiration date on it. Now you're operating under a recent experience period, that 24-month period that we discussed in 197. If more than three calendar months have passed since the last month of the flight instructor's recent experience period, the flight instructor must satisfactorily complete one of the following: practical test, additional rating practical test. You can mil comp, again, for those in the armed forces, mil comp that. Okay, so that sums it up. That's really where we're seeing some issues. The confusion mainly is with the expiration date, and the 3 months on the backside, and what paperwork do I need to submit. Basically, everything remains the same. It's just that there's no date on your certificate. Generally, things remain the same. The requirements for you as a CFI remain generally the same. It's just that now we do have this additional 3-month window if you do not show recent experience by that last month. However, if you're in this 3-month window afterwards, after that last month, you can't exercise privileges of your CFI. And I think there will probably be some instructors out there who are operating on an expired certificate without knowing it, endorsing and training, and then that calls into question all of the endorsement and training of those instructors. So be very, very careful with this. Make sure you know this rule. Ask questions, send some questions in the comments, make comments, let me know if you need any more information, and hopefully this helps clarify a few things. And again, I'll put these sections in the comments, 197, 199. You can go to DRS as well, Dynamic Regulatory System, the FAA.gov page, look up these rules, and then also 8900.1. I will put a link to the PDF that I have highlighted some of the sections so you can review this. And if you have any questions, ask, and hopefully I can clarify that for you. So, hope it helps. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.